Hello, everybody. Welcome to NEFC Talk TV. We're back again with another late night show. A good, interesting topic today. Sorry about the couple of minutes that we were late. Well, 7 minutes really. But we were trying to get the audio. We're still dealing with some audio issues from different people, and we're trying to still figure out what the source is. But we got Jamie, of course. We got Gary. We're waiting on Amrit, trying to get his stuff sorted to come on and join us about the topic of discussion today, it seems like I'm freezing a bit here. Is Eddie Howe under pressure? Do you guys hear me well though? Let me just know.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
No sound issues, I don't think.
All right. Is Eddie Howe under pressure? That's the biggest question. That's the question that we shall give our opinion on today. And but before that, please hit the like button. Support the channel. It's easy to forget. Close the chat for a second. Hit that like button. Click the like button. Help us out. It's free, and you help the channel succeed. So please do that, and then you can open the chat and please give us your opinion on what's going on, or what your thoughts, what anything that you want to bring up. We'll try to show as many comments as we can. We'll try to get to as many comments as we can. But before we get started, I would like to get Jamie's take on the game. Jamie, it was well, to give what's your take on the game? Happy, upset?
Yeah, it was another one where you leave feeling, a little angry at the world. It was disappointing, wasn't it? I kind of agreed with the assessment that that Craig Hope put out, that it was a game of three periods, in that United bossed the first half hour and they looked pretty good. They looked as good as they've looked recently. And I think, I don't know, it may be one of those sliding doors moments when you look back at that moment where Isak should have scored when Bruno put him through, and he didn't. He put it straight at the keeper when he could have went round him, or so many times he's lifted it over an advancing goalie like that. And then within 90 seconds, Brighton had it in the net the first time they'd ventured past pretty much the halfway line. But then after that, Newcastle's response suggested fragile confidence to me. They were average for about the next half an hour. The substitutions, if anything, took it downhill a bit, and it was, I was sat there in the ground thinking, I may as well go home after an hour. I thought I would sit here, and they ain't going to score. If the referee gives us an extra half hour at the end, we are not going to score. It's just one of those days, and I think if you look back over the last 4 games, other than a penalty against Wimbledon and a penalty against Man City, we haven't scored in 4 games because we just don't seem to be able to create the chances. And it kind of come back to bite us there, because you need to be winning the home games if you're going to be challenging for a decent league position.
Yeah. Well, fellas, I mean, we've had how many games have we played this season? Close to 10? 10?
10 in
That's
all competition.
10 in all,
And
yeah.
no competitions. Well, yeah, all competitions need to be taken in consideration. I'm by no means an Eddie Howe out fan, but there are fans that are getting frustrated. They are getting. It almost feels like that's the way it goes. The first person that we look at and say, well, this guy needs to go is the manager. Can't get rid of 22 players. That's a fact. So, but I don't think it's fair to judge or to call for Eddie's head yet. I don't think he's done anything to be asked to resign or be sacked. I don't think there are anything that we can't go back from. I think he needs to have a whole season, and if we fail to qualify for Europe, then he should go. If we fail to qualify for Europe, but is he feeling the pressure? Is the biggest question, Gary.
Well, you know what Alan Shearer says about pressure? Pressure's for tyres.
That's right.
But it's like everything else. I've been having a bit of a deep dive into our current situation, and we all say, like, Pep Guardiola is probably the best manager in the world as we speak now. But when you look back in 2016, when he took on board Man City, the team that he actually got from Man City finished fourth that season. So he didn't take on board a bad set of players. They were a decent squad. Yes, they needed a lot of impetus in players, which he has now brought in over the 8-year period he's been there. What we've got to take on board is Eddie's taken on a team that was fighting relegation. We've missed 2 transfer windows. And it's like everything else. Once you start not bringing in fresh blood, the team does seem to have a negative. It seems to have a negative effect on any team that doesn't freshen up with new faces and new style of play. And I think this season we're starting to see the effects of that. We had a really good couple of seasons, finishing fourth and seventh. But like I said, I said to you on Saturday, said again on Sunday, and we alluded to it again this morning. We have got to a situation where we dominant left side, and any manager worth his salt, opposition manager worth his salt, once he takes that channel off us, we have no other goal scorers on the field. We don't get any goals from midfield anymore. We don't get any goals from right wing. And the only two that, well, I suppose you can class it as 3 players that are scoring at the moment. And like I say, 2 have only had 1 goal up front. And Harvey Barnes is the one. And again, he was on the bench. So there's a lot of question marks on what happened. And like I said to you today, my only curveball is the fact that he knows he knows the players. He saw what happened when he made the changes. There was no impact from the bench whatsoever. When you start your best 11, as we've got at the moment, there doesn't seem to be any players that can impact the game coming in from the bench, apart from Harvey Barnes, who tried for the first 5 to 10 minutes, and then once the other changes got on board, it just went downhill, and it went downhill really quick, to the point where we could have conceded another at least 2 goals. Um, so is the pressure on Eddie Howe? Well, I don't think it is, because I think you've got to look at it from the aspect of what he's got available regarding the playing staff. A lot of effort and a lot of impetus has been going on behind the scenes for the academy, backroom staff. He seems to have literally got that on board now. What we actually do need is we need a massive impetus in January now, whether that be loan players, sold players going to bring in new blood. It doesn't matter. It just needs some fresh faces to come on board to give us that impetus. The problem is, if we continue going on our trajectory according to some of the Opta stats, by the time Christmas comes, we could be sitting in as low as 14th to 15th place. We just don't seem to be able to score goals. Now, at that point, obviously, we've said from the start, if Newcastle are in and around that position, would Eddie be in control of the job? Only Piff could tell us that. And I think that's the issue at the minute. I think it is probably a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction, and everybody is worrying a little bit because we just don't seem to be able to score goals. It doesn't matter what Eddie Howe does, what tactic Eddie Howe tries to play, the goals just aren't coming. And if that continues, then confidence throughout the team just stop. So at this present moment in time, I just think he needs time. I think it's a case of trying to get the best out of what he's got, trying to get as many points as we can over the next 5 or 6 games, because they are hard games coming up now. And I
Very.
wouldn't even class Nottingham Forest as an easy game, because I saw us against their second 11 and we struggled. So there is no easy games in the Premier League. We know that, but we've done enough to win the games. And for whatever reason, on Saturday, we just couldn't hit the onion sack. And it doesn't matter how much possession you have. It doesn't matter how well you play. The only result that matters is the end result, and that's the 3 points, or at least a draw. And even then, we would have classed it as 2 points dropped, as we did against Everton.
And that's the biggest thing, that we're not. I, I mean, people can look at it and say all we need to do is score. I don't agree with that 100%. I mean, we don't create as many chances as people think we do. And
Mm-mm.
when the games that we've won have been because of crazy goals by Shaw, by Barnes multiple times, most effective player. My wonder is though, as long as the players believe in Eddie, then that shouldn't be no issue. However, you probably will lose most players if you keep, not following what you're saying, which is play the best players and the players that are performing play on a regular basis. I don't think he's doing it. I don't think he's doing it.
Well, he
Harvey
got
Barnes.
criticised when he changed the side and we won't play in Tonali. You're heavily criticised then. You're criticised when you bring off Tonali because it's just not working. And I think that's it. It's a fine balance, and that's what I said to Win this afternoon when we had the afternoon show. Uh, Having looked at what I saw and going back now, if Eddie Howe thinks that that is the best midfield that he has got, we're coming up to probably the most important few months now at the Christmas period. It's all about keeping players fit and healthy. We've seen the effect that Wilson has on us. That's just one player up front. When he's not available, it doesn't seem as though it gives Isak a spark or a push to go out there and prove himself. We know Asula, bless him, is not his fault. We just know Asula probably isn't ready yet to be used for many minutes, even though I think, there was no reason to buy him if he isn't going to be used. So there's a question mark regarding that. And I also think now, if Eddie Howe threw the towel in, and you can say however you like, but for me it was about preservation of his team, of his best players on Saturday. And come the 60 minutes, he realised that nothing was going to happen, nothing was happening for him in front of goal, and it very much looked like me. Let's preserve them because we've got lots of matches coming up now. I know you said we've got a week's rest coming up. Well, imagine in the
You
85th
don't
minute that
give
you
up
get.
with half an hour to go.
Well, no,
Yeah,
I'm
no.
not saying he has. That's the only excuse I can say is preservation. I'm not saying he
But
has. I'm just saying, is it preservation? In the 85th minute, if you keep the team on, the team that have played 2 international matches within 4 days, and he gets a torn hamstring, which keeps him out for 12 weeks, what do you say then? Who do you blame? You've got to look at
Well,
it as an even keel.
well, if I guess if you went through life thinking of what ifs, you wouldn't leave the house, would you? What if?
Yeah, but
You
when you haven't got a squad, Jamie, that's what I'm saying. We're not Man City, we're not Liverpool, we're not
uh,
Arsenal. We
you
haven't
can't.
got the depth in. I know
But
you're going to disagree.
they're there
All
to
I'm
win
trying to say is
matches.
give you an excuse. What's that?
They're there to win matches. If you're sacrificing winning the game so they can stay fit and win the
Yes.
next game, then that's completely counterproductive. I know what you're saying. You've got to get a bit of squad balance, but yeah, I do. He probably did things that he thought would make a bit of a difference on Saturday, and it didn't work. Sometimes it doesn't work. I think the whole thing's bigger than Saturday. It's because I think on these shows over the last year, I've been on a few where we've had these really depressing conversations. I've got a list of games here. Last season, I would say the following performances were somewhere between disappointing and unacceptable. So shout out if you don't remember them. Bournemouth away, Everton away, Tottenham away, AC Milan at home the second half, Nottingham Forest at home, Luton away, Luton at home, Bournemouth at home, Chelsea away, Man United away, Crystal Palace away, Everton at home, Brighton at home. It was a draw, okay, but last year when we needed to go for Europe, that 1-1 draw. And then this season, I'd say the same about the Bournemouth away when we were very lucky to get a point, and Fulham away when we lost. I think what's happening is over the last year, 1 in every 3 performances has been shit. And you go to the ground thinking, is it going to be that day today? Whereas in the previous season, you went there thinking they're going to give it the best. I think there's too much. The game was a microcosm of it because, as I said, there was 3 kind of thirds to the game, one of which was awful. And it's like that with performances. 1 in every 3 performances awful. And I think that is cranking up the pressure on Eddie Howe more so than, what's happened in the last week or so. You could forgive that Brighton performance in isolation because they made chances that didn't take them. Brighton put in a pretty perfect away performance, smash and grab. But it's just indicative of everything seemingly going in a bit of a downward direction for the last 12 months or so. And I hope he can turn it around. He definitely deserves the season to do it. But I think we're almost in a position now where we have to put our faith in it and going gung ho for a cup.
Well, that's gonna be one of the things that saves them. Listen, we can come up with many excuses, but an excuse doesn't solve the problem. Clearly, and you would think that this guy Eddie has to have some sort of reasoning behind what he's doing. But I mean, it's hard to come up with one because obviously resting players you can't do that. I mean, you one game a week you're gonna rest. They reminded me of the Chelsea game, the Carabao Cup last season. Carabao Cup, was it? Or yeah, Carabao Cup. Yeah. We made the mistake with players made mistakes in that game, obviously, but nowhere near the same on this game. No mistakes really, but we just gave up on the game, and I'm not understanding what he's doing, and obviously all these questions start to creep up. Whether he is the manager, whether it's too much for him, whether he can't turn it around. One thing that a manager cannot do is lose his players, because if he loses the trust of his players, he's knackered. He's knackered. And I just don't see you taking Tonali off. He's your best midfielder, but the majority of fans thinking that he's the best midfielder on the pitch. You're taking him off for Willock, who comes on and is draws. Now he's not going to know that Willock is going to be that, but your best midfielder, it just makes no sense. And the long stuff, Bruno switch, you just put that on the picture and put it on social media, and people will have a feast about it. It speaks for itself. I understand, and we don't have a deep squad, so I do agree with that. But if the problem is finishing the game or scoring, I don't think we created four big chances. Brighton created the same. If you just watch the match, you wouldn't think that. But we only created four big chances to four of Brighton's. They scored. They had a better percentage. But I don't see this overwhelming thing where some fans are saying, "Well, we just need to score." I don't see it. I don't see it. We saw the stats the other day. Isak had one clear shot to go. One opportunity created by the midfielder, in that case J7. The rest of the shots he created for himself. Didn't score. Fair enough. I gave him the same score as Gordon. But also another question is Eddie the manager to get bigger when the pressure is on, or is he the manager to crumble? Has he ever been in a pressurized moment like this before that you guys can remember? Because last season we
Obviously,
had a lot of injuries.
yeah, I mean, obviously, the times when he was at Bournemouth and Burnley, alike, he's been a manager under pressure probably his entire career because uh, he's never been able to have a squad big enough to have a proper rotation within the squad. And as you see, there's a lot of big teams out there that have had the international players come back, and yes, they've started, but they have all had rests or some part through the game. Uh, and the biggest problem we have is we don't have like for like subs coming onto the park when you lose one of your dominant players. And like I say, once we decimated our midfield, I mean, we left J7 on the park. That's fair enough, but J7's probably our weakest technical player. Out of the mid three. So once you get rid of your two main players, the ones that are gifted enough to get you at least chances, you're never going to get that. I don't
Yeah,
know why my something happening to my screen then. For some unknown reason, I keep going off the screen. I hope you guys can see me okay.
yeah, we can see you. I'm ready. Are you there, Merrick? I'm ready.
Say
What
what?
was that? What was that?
We
That
have got the duck involved.
we got. You gotta. Oh man, you got a voice effect, man. You're killing us.
That's
uh,
Donald Duck in the house, man. Oh,
well, we hear ducks. That's what we hear.
man, it's like chipmunks, isn't it? What was the cartoon? The chipmunks.
That's unbelievable.
Can you
Oh
can,
man, well,
can
yeah,
you
it
hear
doesn't.
us, Amrit? Just
Can you
nod
at
your
least
head,
hear
buddy.
us? He
Yeah.
can hear us perfect
Well,
now, but when he speaks, it's your
when
mic, man. You gotta change your mic. You got
you sound like a
you like
chipmunk,
sound like
matey.
it's like Alvin and the Chipmunks, man.
Love it.
You gotta change your mic. You gotta change your mic, man. If it ain't one thing, it's another with Amrit, man. He can hear
It's
us now, but he
classic.
can't. He can't speak. By the way, folks, please hit the like button. We don't have many likes. Come on, hit the like button. There's 66 of you watching. Hit that like button. Um, well, Jimmy, has he ever? Have you? Do you think he can? He's ever been in this situation before? Um,
Is I think he's had the pressure of relegation battles, but I don't think he's been in something quite so big and something that where there's just so much going on, isn't there? We've said before the way things normally work is you get a director of football, so you get a chief executive. He appoints a sporting director and he appoints a manager, and ours has been all over the place. We had Eddie come in, Ashworth come and go. Now we've got Mitchell. We've had Darren Eales in for a long time, and now he's got health issues, and we're going to need a new chief executive. And you're going to just have a constant merry-go-round of comings and goings, and it feels like there's not a lot of stability there. And all that's got to be affecting Eddie Howe. He's got to understand that now there's nobody above him that was involved in his appointment. And
yeah, but I mean, at some point, you got to get on, don't you? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. But I think it would you not see it? Would you know what I mean if I said it? Just looking at everything that happens, it feels like something's off. It feels like something ain't right, and you can't quite put your finger on it. You know, just various body language, sort of rumors flying around and things. And I don't know. I haven't given up on it entirely, but as Gary said earlier, it's a tough, horrible week ahead. And in a normal season, if you've got Chelsea away and Arsenal at home, and you come out of that with kind of 1 point, you say, well, they're two very tough games. The way things are now, where it's a pressure cooker, coming out of that with no points or 1 point, I think the backlash you've seen from Brighton come next weekend, bearing in mind, you're right, we could be down in 13th or 14th. That'll be tenfold. And it shouldn't be off the bat of those games, but it's been a slow build over the season, and I hope Eddie's made his stuff to cope with it. If you can cope with a relegation battle, you should be able to cope with this
Oh
sort
yeah.
of stuff.
I don't know about that, man. There's a different pressure here, man. Because Bournemouth can say, "Well, look, we're a relegation team." Newcastle can't say that. Newcastle, you got, like you said, you got people that are not here that brought you in, so you might feel that pressure. The players week by week, we've seen a few faces here and there, or some players after substitutions, which nobody's going to be happy to be substituted. But I mean, look, let's be honest. If Eddie Howe, is there a chance that we can lose against Chelsea twice in a row?
Yeah.
Of course. The way they
Is
played against Liverpool, yeah.
is there a chance that we can lose against Arsenal?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a
Obviously.
chance that well, that's three in a row right there. If we lose three in a row, but then you got Forest in the middle, or not middle, but right after the Arsenal match. So if you're at City Ground, how many times have we beaten them at City Ground?
Oh, we've won 3 on the bounce if
Right.
you count the
Gonna say.
penalty win in the
Okay.
cup. Yeah.
that could be the one that extends his time, because if we lose every game in a row, and we all of a sudden beat, can we survive? First of all, let's just get right to it. Can we survive if we lose three games in a row, against, two Chelsea, and get eliminated from the cup? What that means?
That's a big one,
That's the
Chris. I
big one.
think because if you lose the 2 league games but stay in the cup, there's something there. There's something to hang the hope on, especially if there's a nice home draw in the next round. You're in the quarterfinals. You can maybe see a bit of a route to Wembley, and you can say, well, we'll prioritise that, and people will have a little bit more patience with sorting the league form out. I think that's the most important game next week. I really do. Probably a lot of people would disagree, but if we win that one, it kind of looks after it a bit. Lose them all, and wow, wouldn't be a bad place to be.
But that's the thing. Can we survive? That Carabao Cup is a one game in itself, where that defines it. That is probably weighs more than the rest. And if you lose all those three in a row, is there a chance that Eddie Howe can be a manager, Gary?
Look, well, like Jamie's just said, the one that's probably going to hurt you more than anything else is the Carabao Cup. Because for a while now we've been saying that the Carabao Cup is what we should be aiming at for some silverware, because that gives everybody a boost. I think what's hurt us more than anything else, and I've said it, if you look, January is probably the 2-year anniversary for Anthony Gordon, and the only person that's graced our team from that signing is Tonali. So I think that just gives you some type of insight to how Eddie Howe must feel,
And
because he's playing with a lot of still Brucey players that, as we said back then, and we still say now, they're probably not at this standard anymore.
And he gets, but the one player that you think, that we all think is a key player, gets subbed out. The first one to come off the pitch, which is detrimental to say the least. Amrit took off. Something's going on with Amrit stuff. We gotta get this stuff sorted. But Roy, you're there. How you doing?
Greetings, man.
Well,
Yeah.
first of all, give me your take on the game. Yeah, I heard you from you.
It was similar to Everton, really, and you can't finish your dinner. And I still thought after 60 minutes we can still get back in it, and then the subs happened, and that was again a white flag. Took Tonali off. Once Tonali and Bruno off, and you got Longstaff and Willock, you know that you're not going to do anything, and it kind of killed it. Up until that lad got injured, do you remember? What was it, 80 or 78th minute or something? Can't remember. After that, I thought that's it, gone. The game was gone. No momentum. Wrong subs, I think. Yeah, he's not taking chances. I think I would put Asuda on maybe 10 minutes within the second half. And if he thought Bruno wasn't playing good, or Tonali wasn't playing good, or one of the midfielders, just put another guy up front. Have two. Nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. You did lose at the end anyway.
Yeah.
So you're not taking risks. You're doing all the safety stuff, and you still lost. So I think if he doesn't win at least one of the next three, he's gone.
So if we lose the 3 games in a row, we can definitely lose against Chelsea away, which is going to be the Premier League.
That's most likely.
The one at home. The one at home. I mean, we beat Chelsea.
Yeah, we beat them last season 4-1 at home
with injuries, but this is a different Chelsea now, and Enzo Maresca got them going pretty good. I mean, I just don't see us losing back to back at St. James's Park, though. I hope, but that's the one that's gonna.
It depends.
Now I'm talking about now. 10 years ago.
Yeah. Have they got Europa game on?
They got Europe. I don't know if they're gonna play this.
Oh, no. Because we played them. Then we played them in the cup, and then it's back to the week. Yeah. So nah. He's probably gonna put a full team on as well. So a full team Chelsea is gonna be hard. The only positive I think will be is, I think we're finding it hard to break teams down, and it's easier to score for us when teams are attacking us. So he's kind of turned us into this counter-attacking team, because the games we've won, we were always the worst player. We were always the worst team in that game. And the games that we dominated and we should have scored and won, we didn't win. So maybe he turned us into this counter-attacking Steve Bruce, expensive Steve Bruce team. That's what we look like now. But just put us all on, man. I'm just try something else. Try 3-5-2, anything. Change it. Just 4-3-3 again and again and again. And I don't know. Do you know what it is? If he gets sacked, it's his own fault. We love him. We all want him to stay. But if he gets sacked, it's his fault.
Well, that was interesting.
And I'm not gonna feel sorry for him, because don't feel
we hear
sorry
you.
for me. Never feel sorry for millionaires,
Uh,
because these guys make in a month that we make in 10 years.
never. Amrit, do you hear us, mate?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Ah, the squirrel's
there we go.
gone.
Now we got you're not Alvin the
Now we're
Chipmunk no more,
playing.
man.
Now we're playing. Now we're playing.
Now we're proper.
Yeah.
Well,
bit
the
of-
Mighty Win. By the way, the Mighty Win is the head of twat relations in the channel. So he's the one that brings in the talent. We got, you look like a striker, Jamie. By the way, you look like that type of good looking guy. Blonde, blue eyes. You're the guy that gets paid. That gets paid while we're defending the back. So you're definitely a good talent. The Mighty Win told me Amrit is hot. So now that we got your audio going, mate, tell us your take on the current situation. Is Eddie Howe under pressure?
Is he under pressure? He was under pressure about 3 months ago. Listen, for me, we haven't performed to anywhere near we should be. And the only person that's going to take that, and the only person that's going to have that responsibility is Eddie. At the end of the day, Eddie Howe's responsible for our performances on the pitch, and we didn't take our chances the other day. We played all right, but we didn't take our chances. There's no excuses. We are a side now that expect better, and Eddie Howe's got to sort it out. And yes, the pressure is on him. Pressure is on him massively.
Do you think? What will it take in the last? Well, we're putting, or I'm putting the Forest game right there as a lifesaver, because if he loses 3 in a row, and for some odd reason, he manages to hold on to his job by the skin of his teeth, or whatever that saying is, and beats Forest away, then that might be, just the excitement out of that one might keep him in the job. But then he loses against Liverpool in the next one. All these are losable games. More than winnable games, to be fair.
Yep.
And unfortunately, he's in this storm. That he put in himself. Because if we would have beaten Brighton, if we would have beaten Fulham per se, oh hell no.
Even a draw against Fulham.
We got somebody in the background I thought we got rid of a long time ago. But let me go with this version of events. And
so
interesting. Anyways, we got the Mighty Win in the building. And by the way, we've got your fan accounts. Ask us where you're at, man. The king of Madeira. I think the Mighty Ben, and also the Mighty Win's official fan account has been commenting, asking for you, mate.
They're only human.
I thought you were in the quiz.
Just won it.
Damn. How much you win?
150.
No, don't tell nobody, man, because they're gonna come to your house.
£625 dinner vouchers.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, we're over here busy working, man, while you're twatting about in the streets of Newcastle. So, what do you think? Is Eddie Howe under pressure? Amrit wants him out. Well, hold on. I'm putting words in your mouth. You haven't said it yet. So, Amrit,
look.
Where are you? Where's your stance right now?
In all realism, right? The other day, we played well. We had chances. We should have scored. On another day, it would have been 4-1. It just wasn't our day. If he can turn it around and stabilize the team and start performing the way we have performed in the past, fine. by me. But if he continues this downward spiral, performances are not up to par. If he continues his downward spiral, then yeah, Eddie out.
All right.
Time to move on to another manager.
Mighty Wayne, you've been a very loyal person to Eddie Howe. Not that he gives a damn, but what do you think now? This, by the way, is going to change tomorrow, so regardless. But where do you stand now?
Well, I tell you what I do think. I think if he wins the Carabao Cup game and we still continue underperforming in the league, we've got an exact replica of what happened with Dalglish and with Hullet when they should have been sacked, but they got us to the cup final. We're still winning the cup game, so we're stuck with them and stuck with them when they were past their sell-by date. And that's the one worry I've got with Eddie. That as you know, I have been 100% Eddie, and I still hope to God and pray that he can turn it around.
Although you don't believe in God, so that's kind of weird.
Correct. But nonetheless, I hope and I trust. I'm still not right over onto the dark side yet, but I am definitely getting there. When I came out of the ground on Saturday after those substitutions, I was very, very surely heading that way.
Yeah.
But since then, as Amrit just said there, we could have won that game quite easily if we'd taken our chances, finished our dinner, and we didn't. But, is that because the way that he's playing, he's not feeding the goat in the correct way or whatever? I don't know. What that there is something very. I was listening in the taxi on the way back, and I thought Jamie kind of hit the nail on the head when he was saying things are. It would appear obviously not right behind the scenes with all of the turmoil there's been with Amanda going, with Eels getting sick, and Mitchell coming in and having his two penneth when he first came in, probably thinking he had a bit more clout than what he had. And what is the hierarchy? Because it should absolutely be CEO, director of football appoints the manager. And that hasn't happened here because Eddie was here before Mitchell came in. It's a tough, we're in a tough situation. And we're not playing as well as we should be playing, in my opinion, with the resources we've got available. You can talk about not having much on the bench and all of that, but we've got more on the bench now than we've ever had, and yet we're still ended up with 6 Bruce players on the pitch, and that to me was a big worry.
All right. So I'm going to put up a poll. Is Eddie Howe under pressure? Pretty simple. Yes, he is. No, he's not.
Well,
so
he is
you guys,
under pressure.
Well, maybe he's not, because I guess I didn't play what he said after the game. Did I play what he said after the game? Because on yesterday's show, because you listen to
so.
him, everything is wonderful. We just didn't score.
I don't think he said everything was wonderful at all.
Well, basically that's the same. That's the attitude. But we did put this poll anyway earlier today. 80 people voted. Is Eddie Howe under pressure to the community of the channel? That means anybody that's just scrolling through YouTube can see that and vote. 56% said, of course he is. 44% not at all. He will fix this. Patience. So that's pretty divided, actually. It's not just pretty simple. No, he's not under pressure.
88.
Out of 88, yeah, 88 votes.
No, 58,
well, that's not divided, is it?
56% said yes, he is. 44%
56.
says.
I thought you said 88.
Yeah. So that's what's going on. I still, like I said, I believe that he needs to go on to finish the season. Now, a lot of people are telling me Christmas is the deadline. The deadline has gotten shorter. So, Jamie, well, first of all, these games right here, man. What we're gonna play again? Chelsea again, Arsenal, Forest, and Liverpool. I didn't ask you, Jamie. If we lose 4 out of those 6 games or 5 games, what if you're in charge? You're there. Darren Neal says I'm a little ill, so I'm gonna appoint Jamie from the Mag, CEO.
Be
Make
a
the
good
decision.
choice. Popular choice.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of very difficult games in there, and there's probably not a lot you can do in the short term. I think it's more like Christmas, where you're looking at the deadline, because Derek made an interesting point earlier talking about when Kenny Dalglish was manager, and he was here for too long. And for anyone who doesn't remember, Kenny Dalglish was sacked 2 games into the season, right?
Mm.
But what they did before that, they let him spend a lot of money in the summer, and he bought. I think he might have bought Solano around then and Shea Given, but he wasted a lot of money as well on Stefan Givarch, Andreas Anderson, bunch of players that people will not have heard of. Carl Sarant, Des Hamilton. Wow, those were the days. And I think if there's a feeling behind the scenes it's not working, you can't let Eddie Howe spend any more money, really.
Mm.
What you need is a complete reboot because the transfer budget's going to be limited. So let's say we've got kind of 110, 120 million to spend next year within PSR. You can't have him blow 60, 70 million of that on Mark Gahey in January.
Interesting.
So you've maybe got to make that decision then. And because you either need to have the structure in place that's going to move forward into next season before you spend a penny in January, or you don't spend in January. You keep the money there and just say
Very,
this season's gone,
very interesting
and
take
that
right
would not
there.
be popular.
Very interesting take because my next question to the panel is because you're saying that's what could happen or what you would do if you don't believe in him. How about this question? Have they already done it?
Have they already made the decision?
Made the decision to not back him with transfers? Because we've seen it and it's brought up. It's been brought up before that maybe PIF said, "Well, this is what you got. Let's see what you can do with it. You already got us the Champions League."
Yeah, but they went for longer in the last minute for 50 million.
I think
So
that was a token effort, to be honest.
maybe, yeah.
Maybe an effort that they knew wasn't gonna
Yeah.
wasn't going to happen. So my question is to the panel. I don't know if Amri, Gary want to answer. Maybe have they already done it?
Yeah, well, I mean that they haven't given him any players, like I say, in the last 2 windows. Now,
Right.
is that Eddie's fault for being stubborn and only looking for a certain player? Who knows? Because again, we don't know the facts behind it. But it seems very much, especially in the summer window, it seems very much like it was Eddie's decision to go for Gay and Gay only. And when that fell through, like Royce just said, it didn't seem as though we had a plan B until it was the 11th hour, by which time it was too late because you're not giving the likes of Nottingham Forest, even though Alanga hasn't played much. I mean, it's still not giving them chance to go out there and replace him. So you can understand why he wasn't allowed to go. So, like I said, I think it's very much a 50-50 when you come to pointing a finger at somebody regarding whether they've supported him or not. I think they've tried to support him. We've heard from Mitchell saying he was only given Gay to go and try and get. There was nobody else in the pot for him to go and try and secure. And I thought that to me was probably at Eddie Howe's detriment because any team, as you've seen, if you don't bring in fresh faces, it goes stale, and we just look very stale at the moment. Last season, as much as we were going forward and scoring goals, we were conceding far too many. Eddie's changed that tactic a little bit this year, and he's got a little bit, I don't know, a little bit more on the defensive side, and we're not getting half as many bodies into the box to pick up any pieces, and it's showing. 8 goals against, 8 goals for. And when you're not scoring goals, it only takes one attack like they had in the first half, and you've lost the game. And it could have happened against Everton, as daft as it looks. If they'd have had one fluky goal, and we saw that one that was blazed over the bar when everybody was shouting penalty. If that had have hit the onion sack instead of going over the bar, we would have lost 2 games back to back, and 2 games that we could have quite easily won, because on performance and chances missed, we outgunned both teams. But like I said, you get nothing for we get nothing for possession. You get it from it's a results-driven industry. So the only pressure that's on Eddie at the moment is being put on Eddie himself, because of some of the decisions he's making, going from transfers all the way through to on-field decisions, in my opinion.
Yeah. And just to add to that, Gary, I mean, if you think about it, when we went in the transfer market in the summer, put it this way: you go to a fruit shop, you ask for an orange, they say it's going to be £7. We say no, want it for £5. You go somewhere else to buy an orange from elsewhere. We didn't go elsewhere to buy an orange from elsewhere. We didn't get a right back. We didn't get whatever we needed in the summer. All we got was reports about Newcastle up their bid for Gay. Oh yeah, great, that's brilliant, excellent. But we had nothing else in the pipeline, and that's why that question has a lot of merit, Chris. Because why did that not happen? Is it Eddie's fault, or are they holding back? Or are they thinking, let's line someone up for this job and then give him the money, or her the money, whoever it is,
I can't see it being a her.
Well, you can't discard. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Luke Edwards, who we used to react to what he shares, and Craig Hope and everybody else, Keith Down, etc. Turn into social media and basically backed Eddie Howe, saying that he's seen some social media chatter, that's turning to Eddie's future, and he's pointed out, a few things that Eddie has had to deal with, PSR included, and when PIF talked about long-term projects and sustainable growth, that applies to the manager's work as well, according to Luke. And he says, "Why do people overreact to every setback? It's exhausting and makes me feel irritable." It's not that to me. I can only speak for myself. I have tried to be objective and point out the deficiencies that I've seen throughout every game, and there's been a lot every game. We have won games based on players' ability to score incredible goals in most games. So I think what Luke is doing there is a very simplistic way of looking at it. But but this is his opinion nonetheless. But what caught my attention is something that I brought up yesterday to the Mighty Win, where he told me there was no issue. But he comments under his own post, and I feel like it's not the answer to go this way, because the ultimate protagonists are on the pitch. And he says, "Oh, while I'm on one, the atmosphere was rubbish on Saturday. People turning up expecting to steamroll a side like Brighton. The smattering of boos at halftime and the final whistle. We demand to be entertained, and if we don't win, we'll angrily type out messages on social media saying the manager should be sacked." First of all, I don't think that's his part of his job requirements, to talk like a fan. Give your opinion, give information if you have information. But it almost looks like, I don't know what you guys think. Mighty, when you told me yesterday, and Jamie, didn't get your take. What do you think about the atmosphere? Actually, let me go to you. And what do you think about this take right here, going at the fans as if they really have any say on what's going to happen with Eddie Howe? What do you think?
Was that Luke Edwards?
Yes.
Right. Go on, Jimmy.
I think, it was crap, but you get that a lot, the thing with the Premier League, any home atmosphere tends to be quite subdued, quite sterile, and it's the away fans that make all the noise. It'll be buzzing at Stamford Bridge on Sunday, and but yeah, it was a bit of a low one, but it also reflects the mood as well. He's talking crap because the boos at half time were for the referee for a start.
Correct.
Which, justified or otherwise. So they weren't on the back. The crowd wasn't on the back of the team or anything. But yeah, it's just how it is. You can put forward theories about putting safe standing here and a singing section there and stuff like that. But home games, you get such a big crowd of people there, and not enough people these days are extrovert enough to stand up and sing and shout, and you will always get that kind of atmosphere. It was like that in the 90s. It was like that in the Bobby Robson era. Ever since it's been an all-seater stadium that cost a decent chunk of change to get into St James's Park, it's been like that, and some things you can't social engineer. It was a poor atmosphere. Might be a better one against Arsenal, might not. Just depends on how the team fires people up.
Yeah. I don't know, Manuel, you want
The,
to comment on the atmosphere? Was
yeah,
rubbish
well,
according to Luke Edwards?
as Jamie's just said there, the boos at half time were not for the players. The boos were for the referee, and the only other boos which there were when Tonali was subbed, and there was definitely boos then for Tonali getting subbed off.
Well, there
And
were boos, so
and rightly so. I think rightly so. I wasn't
yeah.
one of the boos, but I had no complaints about them doing so. Pay your money, it takes your choice. And nobody could I don't know a single person who's been able to explain those substitutions to me, other than perhaps Gary this morning when he said that Eddie virtually threw the towel in and he wanted to keep Bruno and Tonali fresh. And I don't agree with that either. So, yeah.
Throwing the towel in though, but we were on top of the game. We were playing attacking football. We could have equalised. Why throw the towel in?
Well, exactly. That's the
Yeah,
point I'm making.
yeah.
Harpo, I
We
just took
created nothing after the subs were made.
Yep.
Harpo, I made you a moderator again, man. But you gotta be more active. You can't just leave the channel and come back next year. Talking about where's my spanner. So you got it back. So keep it. Thank you to Beer Biker for the kind super chat as well. He's been working really hard to get Harpo's his mod thing. It's just an interesting thing. Well, let's go with the comments because Jury Tune for Life, obviously a very avid Eddie Howe defender. He blames the players, and by the way, they do have a responsibility in this.
Absolutely.
A big responsibility. But also the manager needs to give them the tools to succeed. That's what I'm saying. Not exactly sure that Eddie has done that. But let us go with the comments and see what we can find out from people. Here, Foxy says Premier League, the most overrated league when it comes to atmosphere. The hype is nowhere near reality. Um, well, it's not the same as South America. That's a fact. So if that compared to that,
Or,
then
or
you
even
never go to.
Germany. Yeah, even
Ooh,
Germany.
you ever seen them the yellow wool? Man, that's
Well,
just scary.
Germany, with
With a few teams though, a few
there's
teams.
one or two.
Well, but in England, one or two as well. You can say Anfield. Some people complain about speakers. James's Park is top, and then who else? City Ground could be tough, but what other ground is really scary? Arsenal isn't. Chelsea
Yeah.
isn't. Man United isn't. And by the way, the fans
Don't know
react
what's
on what they see on the pitch, man. It's this nonsense that all of a sudden people will make you win games. It doesn't happen, man. You need to have quality on the pitch. Look at us. We've had a great atmosphere. What have we won? We need to have players on the
absolutely
pitch.
no.
Stephen
But this,
NUFC says Eddie seems caught stuck in the 4-3-3 formation. The defensive solidity or of 22-23 has gone, and the wash buckling free scoring 23-24 has also gone. Well,
Because it's the same players for almost 3 years now, and just
right,
we're like an open book.
all right, yeah. Welcome Scott O'Brien to the channel. Appreciate you, mate, for being on. For the first time I'm seeing you at least. Warren Denning says we need inspiration changing the dynamics. We have the first team used it to our advantage in attack.
Well, that's exactly what we did, and we couldn't finish our dinner.
It's clear that we're going to play better against a team that attacks and leaves spaces. That's an obvious thing. Like Man City, we were able to get a play where we got a penalty. But
It's a masterclass.
but if but the thing is, if you are going to be a proactive team, and if you're going to become a big team like Man City at one point, that's what they do. Everybody holds back against City. Everybody sits back against City. Nobody attacks them.
You know
So
you know what needs addressed? You know what can help you out when someone's sitting back? A set play, a corner or a free kick.
oh,
Our corners are abysmal.
Atrocious.
They're
Yeah.
pathetic. It's like they don't even practice them. I don't know if it's because Kieran Trippier's looked after them for so long that without him in form, without him in the team, they don't know what to do. But it just feels like it's back to those days where the ball goes out for a corner and you think, well, that's that attack gone. You don't think, oh, someone's going to head this in or we might get the second ball.
mm-hmm.
And that is management. That the 11 players on the pitch could execute that if they did something in the week where there was
drilled.
a plan. Absolutely.
Agree.
I remember going back to Pardew days. I mean, I used to.
Oh yeah.
Actually,
I think the record's
I
getting
used to
closer
sing
now.
"Score from a corner." When we got a corner, I would sing "Score from a corner." We
You
never
know,
score from a corner.
You know, it's
I
crazy.
think teams were deliberately conceding corners against us then because they knew it was a safe
Yeah,
bet.
because they
but
know.
that's my thing. You know, when we were supposed to look for the game, look for the equalizer, and you went to that last went to the last corner, last free kick by Longstaff. It's crazy when you don't feel excited. You know, it's unbelievable, and you can tell there's no plan because Longstaff comes on. I'm sure he wasn't planned to come on, and he's the one that takes the step pieces. I mean,
Yeah.
makes zero
And
sense.
you know, Trippier on the pitch for that particular reason would be really good. I mean, if you think about it though, the number of free kicks that we've had, and I've said this before and before on the shows, I've said Bruno gets the ball in a dangerous position, our defenders go into the box, and what does he do? He passes it sideways. And then the other guy, whoever it is, Longstaff, loses the ball, and our defenders are on the back foot. And, you know, like Jamie said, they've got to work on the set pieces.
Mm-hmm. Yep. More comments, folks. Jordy Tune for Life says, lads, in my opinion, this is a reaction way over the top. Let's say he didn't make substitution. What would be said then? But it's about the type of substitutions, man.
GTFL. If he hadn't made those substitutions, I think we would have had a better chance of winning the game than we did by him making the substitutions, with the possible exception of putting a Sula on instead of Isaac, and obviously Barnes on for Murphy.
Yeah. Warren says Jamie is Eddie Howe. He's the spits. There you go, man.
He is a bit.
I'm telling you, looking like him. That's for sure.
Richie.
Looking like he.
He's like Eddie Howe's like 4 years older than me.
Yeah, man.
Well, you look like a young Eddie Howe, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Random Act says below 10th and he's gone. Well, I mean, but
that could be next week.
And that goes without saying. But the problem is that my worry is that if we beat Chelsea in the Carabao, which we've got every likelihood of doing, because there's a chance that Chelsea, even with their huge squad, will not play the first 11. So we've got a chance of beating them. And my worry is that will gloss over the cracks.
Mighty win. If we get eliminated from the Carabao Cup,
season's over. If that happens.
I don't agree with that.
The chance of winning the trophy is over. You got the FA Cup though. You can look at. But
no, I don't agree the season's over. But I would say if we're not, I said from the start of the season, if we are not within 3 points of top 4 at Christmas time, with the start to the season that we had in terms of fixtures, then questions very definitely need to be asked. I'll still.
What if we lose all 5 games, or 4 out of 5?
We'll probably be 15th. We'll probably be 12 points behind top 4 by then. If that happens.
That's
But
right.
this is scenarios that can actually happen. It's not about being negative or
And
not.
if that scenario happens, then
Probably will happen, yeah.
I'll be well. You're saying it will. I'm saying it might. And if it does, it's football. A manager
Yeah.
stands or falls by results on the pitch. Simple as. Not
All right.
rocket science. Dead simple.
Ben Southwell, welcome to the channel as well. Says half the team are second raters from the bruised days.
Yeah,
There
well,
you go.
more than half the team finished that game on Saturday. Six
By the
in
way,
team.
but we have Harvey Barnes. Eddie chooses to play Murphy.
Yep.
Eddie chooses that.
Yeah,
Eddie chooses to sub off Tonali. Eddie chooses that. So
absolutely. I'm not
welcome
hating.
Tristan. Says I don't think Graham Carr and other help either if they can't see what's going on the game. Was that the referee? And so just no. Who's that? Graham Carr.
No,
Graham Carr's been off the scouting team from.
Oh, Graham Carr.
More than 10 years now.
There's a lot about
yeah.
man. Greg, he got sacked.
Yeah, he's retired, isn't he?
Yeah. Long gone.
All right, Tristan has another. Maybe this one will make more sense. Chris, now do you see what I see? If the board offers Eddie Howe top players to cover those not good enough, I'm afraid he would just stick with crap, and that is bad management. Well, yeah, we've been talking about it.
That's been happening, yeah.
Well, no, because what he's saying there is if he's got if he's got no other new blood to pick from, then obviously that's all he can pick from. And that's what we haven't done in the last couple of windows. The second one because we hadn't any money. The first one, and then last season because I don't know what happened in the summer.
Michael in UFC says, question: do you guys think the expectations of the fans, which I agree with, are beyond the capability of the squad and what we have? Ooh.
No, I
Deep
don't.
question.
No.
Well, by the way, no, because he says that we're gonna be second. So,
No.
I said seventh. I said seventh.
I think everybody, you look at what we've done and what we've achieved. Final of the Carabao Cup, finished fourth in the Champions League, finished seven just out of Europe last season, and I think everybody who's got a heart and wears the colours on the sleeve will expect exactly the same. And when it just doesn't go your way, you're always going to have people that will cry and shout for a new manager or see what the system is. And like I said, for me, we're still only 3 years in, and I still look at the fact that when you've got a bench as what we've got at the minute, I just don't know what Eddie can do. I really don't know what he can do. We were asking him to start his best 11, and the only one that he didn't start was Barnes. Everybody else, we've asked him for a long time to get Longstaff out in the middle of the park. He did that, and the results just haven't come. Now, like I said, you can't blame Eddie for not getting results. You can only point the finger at the team because he will do all the drills that he wants to do in the week. The lads will go out there with a tactic, and for the first 35 minutes, it was working absolutely perfectly. When they got the goal on the breakaway, our heads dropped. It became a 50-50 game. And in the final third, when all the changes, we were all over the shop. So the only thing that you can point the finger at is why was the subs made, and did it affect the game? No, it didn't. So it was totally negative substitutions. And the only substitution that he failed to bring on early was to try and get a goal back, and that's get extra bodies in the box. You could have bought Asula on for the last 15 minutes and just gone for it and just seen what you could do. By which time, who knows what could have happened. But when you're giving a kid only 6 minutes, it takes him a good 5 minutes to get involved in the game. And I don't think he touched the ball in actual fact in the entirety. So you can question it. But again, I always go back to when you're putting all of your eggs in the one basket, when it comes to making a change, is there any effect from that change? No, there wasn't.
I don't know anybody wants to jump in on that one, but to me, it's not even about finishing Champions League. I don't even think we're good enough for that. I think Europa League needs to be our objective in the beginning of the season. and the way we're playing right now proves it more than ever.
No, but the point
But it's
is that the way we played on Saturday
no man.
should have got us 3 points.
Should have.
Should have.
Should have, but didn't.
We couldn't finish our dinner.
But we got 4 chances. Brighton scored their chances. If we scored ours, we probably could have drawn the game. Brighton did the same. The more chances you create, the better chances of winning the game you're gonna have. It's simple.
We had 25 shots.
How many on target? You counting shots?
We had the ball
Anything
in
is a shot.
we had 45 touches in the box.
What
More than
touches,
double
man?
them. Their
XG
first
of
touch
almost
in the
2.
box they scored, and that was because of 2 diabolical defensive errors. Eddie Howe's not to blame for 2 diabolical defensive errors.
All right. Comments. Jim Scuff made this comment this morning, but maybe worth repeating. This how out nonsense reminds me of the 05 when the fans wanted Sir Bobby out, and look what happened afterwards. Be careful what you wish for.
It was 04.
04 was it?
Yeah, it was 04. Yeah, it was
Mighty,
out after
Mighty Wayne was one of the
Oh,
ones marching outside
Was
St.
one
James's
of them
Park.
hands up? Yeah,
He wanted them out.
he'd lost the plot.
And-
Part of the problem that it's similar to Dalglish. Bobby Robson went 4 or 5 games into the season. Timing's everything. You do something in the summer, you've got a transfer kitty. You've got a pick of a lot of new managers that'll be available then. If you just rip the plan up a couple of games into the season, then you're screwing the whole season and maybe more. So I think that the way forward for this season is to give Eddie Howe the full season.
The full season, yeah, I agree with that 100%. I mean, unless something catastrophic happens, which I don't think will happen, which is like losing so many points that you're being relegated or something. I just don't see any other. And plus, simply because if you want Howe out so badly, you must want somebody elite to come on. Who is right now coming to Newcastle? You're gonna have a better chance of to the end of the season, if that's the case. If he doesn't qualify for Europe, but look, the question will be asked out there: what if he barely qualifies for Europe and the team is not really performing? Is that going to be that? PIF might say, it's not enough. So you need time to get the manager. We just can't get any lookalike like Jamie and put him on there just acting as if that's gonna make us have a good team, right, Jamie?
I guess working on corner.
Well, you definitely work on the set pieces better, I think. Welcome, Chris N says Eddie needs to go. Ever since we lost to Nottingham Forest last season at St. James's Park, I've lost faith in him. Well, this continues from last season, by the way, but I did say he has the mask of the injuries, which they were a fact, really, not a mask. But he also made certain decisions that we're questioning right now as well, with no injuries. So imagine if we get injuries, man. I'm telling you. It can
but that's what I said. I mean, you've changed the total ethos from last season. You've got a team that was high press, really going for it. Lots of injuries, lots of goals going forward. And again, it reminded me very much of the Keegan, the entertainers. Score 4 and we'll concede 3. The trouble is when you're not scoring, in certain games we didn't score, and Jamie alluded to a couple there, the Forest game, the Luton game. You're all of a sudden you've lost a game that you should have won. On paper, you should be beating these teams, and that's what I'm saying. When you've got injuries, you're gonna have a topsy turvy type of season. This year, he's changed the tactics. Now the problem is with changing the tactics, it's affected the entire team. We have gone very negative. We're not getting anybody's in the box. None of the midfielders, apart from J7, over the last 2 games. Now we are 10 games into a season in all competitions. The last 2 games, he's got himself more involved getting forward. Before that, I've seen, there was times where we've had to pass the ball back when we've got to the byline because it was pointless crossing because there was nobody actually making runs into the box. Unless you commit bodies forward, you're not going to score goals. It's fact. Even though we created 20-odd shots on goal, and like he said, some have created solo efforts from Isaac, some are created from the midfield. It's when you have the half chances. It's like I said, when you get to the byline, and instead of drilling a ball across the box, and you have to gamble then, if lads are coming late into the box, if it gets half cleared, you're picking up the second balls and having a go from there. But when you stop and then allow the defence to get back into position and start all over again with the pendulum tactic, it just doesn't work. It's negative. The set pieces are totally negative. We don't seem to have a decent set piece player in the park. You know, we've looked. How many times did we say on Saturday, you've got to beat the first man? You know, front post corner kicks. We didn't seem to, but then it was too long over the back. The only decent kick was when we managed to pick out Joe Linton at the far post who headed it wide. But apart from that, there wasn't a single corner that hit a player. And I think with the amount of corners you have, you expect at least half of those to be decent chances towards a black and white shirt, and they never are. So again, you have to ask yourself, if it's a player who's just going to knock a ball into the air with no zip on it, it gives the forwards exactly the same type of chance as it does defenders to get to the ball because there's no pace on it. Even your runs into space. The only person who got himself free was Anthony Gordon. And I said to you, yeah, Mr. Squarehead, because he put it over the bar from 7 yards, didn't even test the
Oh, that was
keeper.
another setter. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
them are the facts. That's what I'm saying. When you are 7 yards out with a clear header, them should be at least making the goalkeeper work. When you're missing sitters like that, confidence gets shot and it goes right through the team because you're trying so hard to get that goal back and it just doesn't want to happen for you.
And Dan Burn, his header just went flash past the post. But the
That
thing
was
is, we're talking
J7,
about
yeah.
set pieces, and we've got Italy's set piece taker in the team, and we don't use him.
Don't
It's
use them.
crazy, man.
Crazy one. And then Dan
So
Burn, we've never took advantage of his height. We've had almost 100 corners this season, and nothing. Oh, we had 19 in the last 2 games.
Well, we're going up to it's 178 since we last scored from a corner.
What was the Pardew record?
Oh, he was he was in the 300s.
No, he's definitely they got that record.
Well, it was about a
history, man.
season and a half, I think, or something. Yeah, it was almost a
That's
season and a half.
unbelievable, man. That's unbelievable. Jason Brown blaming a manager for forwards missing 101 chances is utter madness. Again, 2 101 chances. 2. On the stats,
No,
on record.
Yeah,
I'm only blaming him for after what happened after the subs, not before.
That
Before
could
it
be
was all the players missing. He had the right, maybe almost the right lineup and everything, but it was after the subs.
Jordan says, Chris, I'm fed up with Eddie. Didn't have the tools. Chris, 3 years, 500 million spent. That's his team, and he can't win. That shows his eye for talent and lack of ideas to win. Well, I mean, 3 years though. I mean, if you got to count Champions League, you got to
Eyes
count
for talent. Isaac, Botman, Bruno.
So it's
Tonali.
basically I'd say the last 2 years, 2 seasons, or one of them you can really put.
No,
the thing in there,
we spent the vast bulk of that.
Yeah, but what we're trying to say is also that he can't get the team to win or the team to perform well. So that's really just the last
but
season
we
and a
haven't
half.
spent anything because FFP have stopped us doing that.
Yeah, but you already got the talents that you were mentioning, Isak,
That
Gordon, and everybody else.
except
So
last season we didn't have Tonali and Barnes. We've got them this season, which is why I predicted we would go on from effectively forget about last season. I thought with Tonali and Barnes both available, added to the squad that we had when we finished 4th, that should be enough to ensure that we finish top 4 again.
by the
And
way,
it hasn't worked out that way so far.
I knew I had this in store, but Jamie did bring that up earlier when I asked if PIF already made a decision not to back Eddie this season with transfers or PIF or Darren Neals, whatever. And because I had that in mind, because Alan Shearer came out and actually said that. He said he doesn't think that Eddie Howe has not actually it's not thinking. He says Eddie Howe has not been backed as a Newcastle manager. He went on saying, "Are Newcastle any better this season than they were 18 months ago?" And with the transfer windows they've had behind them, I would say probably not. I just feel if they probably haven't backed the manager as good as they should have. So And that's what one of the polls
That's what
yesterday, I
we said
believe,
this morning.
the polls yesterday, when I put the directors um, in charge as one of the blames for the game. It's not so much about the game, but it's so much about how the season is unfolding with the lack of, they signed nobody, nobody substantial. Please don't bring in Osula and everybody else because it's it's not it makes no sense. So that's why I had that in mind. Um, but yeah, that's just it's not working. Amrit, not working, mate.
Bottom line is, right, midfielders, pressing. That's what we did when we came fourth. Yes, we overachieved, inverted commas, whatever people say. But as Gary was saying earlier on, there's no oomph, there's no going forward. Then we've got a problem with the fact that our set pieces aren't working. And all of these things that we're talking about here, it's ultimately Eddie's responsibility to sort it out. And it needs to get sorted ASAP. He's a very well-spoken and very intelligent manager, but at the minute he's making some mistakes, and we could do without them, and could do with a really good victory under our belt. I thought after all the England scenario and everything had all gone out the window, I thought Eddie Howe was going to be focused. He's not going to. All the players are going to say, right, Eddie's with us. He's not going to England. That's great, excellent. Everyone's going to try and boost themselves, so on and so forth. And we came out playing amazing football. First 20 minutes, I turned over right on the sofa. I turned over to Neil and I said, I could watch this all day. We were playing some great football, and it just didn't happen for us. But he needs to continue and needs to push on. And yes, he's under pressure. We expect a lot in Newcastle. I had guests from out of town over the weekend, from Birmingham and from Northampton, and they were so shocked when they went into town to everything about Newcastle revolves around football. And at the end of the day, we want our performances, we want our wins, we want to be in the Champions League, we want to win silverware. And if that doesn't happen, then or if Eddie's not going to show that that's possible with him, then it might be the best thing in the future. But we can't say now. Now's not the time to say Eddie out, but he is under pressure, definitely.
Really
The
good
only
point.
other thing I would say is that wouldn't it be absolutely typical Newcastle, as we've done so often in the past, for we're going up Chelsea, Arsenal, and everybody's doom and gloom. We're going to win all three games. Nothing, that wouldn't really surprise me at all.
No, it
I would
surprises
Because
me.
we can
love
beat
it.
anybody. We can beat
I would love
anybody
it
at
if
St
that
James's
happened.
Park.
Yeah, I'd love it if that happened, but you would also be very annoyed about the points that we've dropped. You would start to think, well, why didn't we do that before? What changed?
Well,
What happened? What did Eddie do?
That's players, though, isn't it,
well,
mate? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
all
there's
we've
that
got
as
to
well.
do is
Yeah,
take our
If
chances.
you're picking yourself up for the top teams and literally going and giving you that extra 5%, then you've got to find a way to give that extra 5% against the lesser teams. That's an average, and that's what you saw that in the first 35 minutes. I don't know
yeah.
what happened, why we switched off after that chance from Isaac, which didn't go in. It seemed as though we for 5 or 10 minutes after that goal went in, we lost it. We'd lost the mentality, we'd lost the approach to the
Mhm.
game, and then after half time, it got worse. And like I say, it become very open game. Both teams could have actually extended the lead for Brighton. We could have got a goal. And then once the substitutions come on, and this is what Jamie was saying, the thirds, what I was alluding to today, it just gets disjointed because there was, it's body language. And if you look at every single player that entered that park as a substitute, the body language was, I'm just a squad player. I don't need to play. I'm happy to get paid sitting on the bench. And that's not the attitude you should have.
Mm. All right. Sorry, somebody was gonna
No,
cut in.
I mean, I totally agree with what you're saying there, Gary. I mean, the attitude there. But there's one thing that happened on the weekend that doesn't often happen is when Isaac gets in that position and he misses. I can't remember that. I can't remember that happening. You know, he's obviously not 100% coming back from his injury. Obviously, he's fractured his toe, and that showed. He showed a lack of confidence when it came to the 50-50s as well, and that's probably because he's fresh off that injury.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a shock to all the players, I think, and everyone's. They might be thinking, "Oh my God, if he's can't finish that, we're doomed." And your heads go down, but they shouldn't. They should stay up and keep creating chances. But it's just It was a frustrating day at the office, wasn't it?
Not
Yeah,
off.
certainly
Very.
was. Ian CR65, when it doesn't work like that though. Just because you have Tonali and Barnes added to the squad from 2 seasons ago, every other club in the top six, plus Villa and Brighton, have improved their squads. Good point.
Which
Football,
I've responded to. Yes, they have, and that's why the fact that we've spent the fact that we've spent 400 million is irrelevant. Everyone spent at least 400 million in 3 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with that.
we spent most of it on subs, man. Remember last season when we didn't really need to buy some of those players, and we need to enforce our first 11, but we didn't. So we bought a right back when we had Trippier. We went and bought a left winger when we had Gordon, and we sold Maxi. Went and bought a Hall when we had Target and Burn was playing on the left, and the only one who the real starter was Tonali, but that was almost 180 million or something. Then we go and complain about PSR. It wasn't PSR's fault. It was bad
They
procurement.
are our starting 11 now.
Yeah, but now because we've done that, they're not good enough. And then
So
Barnes is still.
so hang on. So you're saying Livermento's not good enough, Hall's not good enough?
Livermento's not as good as Trippier, and Barnes is up and down. We see him as a great player. We do, but
No,
as any
no.
of the
Chris
rest of
does.
the
Mighty Wayne does. I don't.
yeah, but he's up and down. One game he's
Yep,
great,
Yep. I
another
agree.
game he's
agree
normal.
with that.
That's why he's not starting, and he's
Agree
gonna
with
get.
that. And
Okay, I
So you
agree with
think
that
why
as well.
did we
Chris
sell?
doesn't
Why
agree with that.
why
Well,
did we
but
sell Maxi if he's a sub now? And then we got
45 million on Gordon, player of the season last
yeah.
year.
and we
Botman,
renew his
Jamaras.
contract to make him the highest paid player when he still has a contract left, instead of using that money to go actually get somebody in the winter window.
But
What,
funny
I
thing
what
is,
just
money?
threw that out
What
there.
money?
last
What money? What do you mean? What money?
You're on about. So we've increased his wages by 100 grand a week. So
Yeah.
over a season, that's 5 million quid. What are you going to get for 5 million quid? Increasing Gordon's wages did not cost us the ability to buy another player. That's nonsense. Utter
Yeah.
nonsense.
And he's going to be sitting really comfortable like Target with his nuts chafed.
well,
So
I'll tell you what, Target is not going to be the worst one. The worst one's going to be Kelly, who's on 150 a week.
Yes, but 150 is the
here we
80
go
and
with the same
70.
stuff, man.
forget about that, for
Yeah, no,
God's
you
sake.
can't forget about it.
Yeah, but no,
Actually,
it all
it's a
adds
lot of
up.
money.
It all adds
It's
up. So
a
100
it's a
for
lot of money.
Target, 250 there, 150. So that's 250 wasted a week. So it's a million. It's a million wasted a month, and it's 12 million wasted a year on two players who can't get a game.
Well, we bought, if we'd been buying Kelly, instead of getting him on a free, he would have cost, let's say, 30 million,
Yeah, but
which
that's
is
the
less
thing.
than we're paying him
so
wages
but
over
nobody,
5 years.
nobody with common sense would pay 30 million for Kelly, man.
Why
Nobody.
not?
No,
What? Who did we have
he's
to fight off to sign Kelly? Who did we have to fight off?
No, no
Well,
one.
Liverpool were in
no
for it.
one. We
Spurs
signed
No,
were
him
they
in
dead
for it.
weren't.
early.
We had a Spurs fan here, Stelios, tell us we were rumored with him and quickly pulled out because we saw the injury record. So Tottenham
Yeah.
fan.
Well, he hasn't been injured
So
for us.
so yeah, we
Well,
only
because
play got
He
10
hasn't
games this
played
season,
enough
man. He
football,
doesn't
I
even
don't think.
play exactly.
No, he
tell you
Doesn't
hasn't.
play.
He
He
hasn't
doesn't.
been picked.
I tell you what, I must be the only one on the planet who's really happy that we didn't get Geehy, and not because of his
I'm not.
record now, because Botman's coming back,
Yeah,
and that would have been stupid getting Kelly, and then you got Botman coming back, and just to spend another 80 million on this centre back. Do you think he's going to be the difference between the 7th and 4th?
Well, let me tell you something,
No, I
brother.
don't.
Let me tell you something. No,
Yeah.
hold on. Every counterattack. Let me just say this counterattack that we just saw against Brighton. One opportunity, one shot scored. So we tend to I think Eddie's game has switched to be pragmatic and defensive. I'm not necessarily sure that's working 100%. We allow at least a goal per game against every team that we have played, with exceptions. The average is a goal per game. So you tell me if it's really working. If we're defending, if Fabian Scherer this top defender, he's an unbelievable. He's got an unbelievable vision, almost midfield like. But is he a top defender? Dan Burn, good defender 101. His man escaped the other day. So let's revisit this defense that we're.
How many clean sheets
You're
we've
not.
had?
You're not
2.
seriously trying to blame Burn for their goal, are you?
I'm blaming the defense. Period.
Burn was picking up
Well,
Evan Ferguson,
I'm
who
not.
dropped deep.
I'm not
It was
blaming the defense.
Livermento.
How?
it was
What is the
Livermento came
danger?
across, yeah.
What is the danger of Ferguson where he was at?
Sharing Livermento cocked up on the goal. Simple as.
Livermento was
Can I just pull back for last season? Does anyone not remember Lewis Hall wasn't in favour with Eddie at all? Yeah, am I right? Correct me if I'm wrong here.
He wasn't.
I
And we
think
had
he
a-
wasn't ready.
And
No, okay, you say he wasn't ready.
Me and Roy wanted him on.
Yeah, we
I
did
want
want
him
him on, but so did I, because he was attacking. His attacking capabilities is exciting. He can hit the ball, but he wasn't Eddie's number one choice, and we had to sign him by default, didn't we? Because we played him that many times.
Well, a lot of people said it was Ashworth signing.
Well, look, did we or did we not have to sign him by default? I think we did.
Well, yeah, I
he's
think
playing
so,
better
yeah.
than Livermento.
Yeah, because
And-
of the amount.
and-
I think Craig Hope said because of the amount of games he played for us, we had.
He
to sign him.
played exactly. So is he not getting more game time because the backroom staff want him to play so that his value stays up there, and that maybe we can get some money for him later down the line?
No,
I don't know. Is he one for the future?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
Lewis Hall. Yeah,
I think so, but there's it starts. I was remembering Eddie Hall. Eddie, he was just like, I don't want to play Lewis Hall, but at the end of the day, he had to play him because there was no other option with the injuries.
All right. Well, let's finish up with we've been a great show. Been a great show. We can go on for hours and hours and hours, but let's finish up with some of the comments and call it a day. Haven't eaten a damn thing all day, and I ran 2 miles, so I'm doing good. Keeping up with my exercise.
Some chips.
You got some fries, man. Those are called fries in
No, it's called chips.
proper
chips.
English. Proper English
Called
is fries,
chips.
man. Scott O'Brien, first time seeing you, mate. Says, why do you black your boat there, man? Oh, wait, time out. Well, never mind. He says, with everyone doing shareholder loans, I don't understand why Newcastle haven't had one. We would still have an Anderson and Minte plus, but possibility of new signings depending on the loan amount. Actually, that's a very good question. I mean, I understand, what people say that we might get hit with something or they might look for a problem, but that's another thing. We've been very slow.
They're going to look into it anyway now.
Yeah, well.
I don't know if you remember last year when I said, yeah, we should go and get £1 billion loan.
Yeah. Sir, if you're worth $1 billion, you can get a billion pound loan. Trust me.
I've asked the lawyer in our club, and he said the bank will not give us $1 billion unless your club is worth $1 billion.
Well, we're worth $1 billion. It's got to be.
We are now.
Yeah.
At the time, we got 300 something.
Exactly.
I went. Yeah. So do it.
But who's the bank? Who can we? I mean, if it's a PIF bank, then trust me.
Any bank.
Yeah, but
yeah. Thing is, on the $1 billion,
right.
you probably have to pay about $200 million a year interest, just interest.
Well, mind you, do I don't know how they do it, but they do it.
No, they pay about 65 a year. Wasted money.
Let me go. With Jordan 2 for Life says, Dom, the club can't do any more than they are doing now. If they could, they would. The last 2 games we have dominated and got 1 point through. Players missing great chances. There lies the problem.
Absolutely
spot
on.
That's the main problem.
And
Everton and Brighton missed chances.
Yeah, that's what you say, Chris. And since Eddie came on board, our players are always getting injured.
Yeah,
he works them hard.
Jimmy Ray.
Renowned
They
for
look
it.
fitter.
He said don't look
Yeah.
fit.
How come Bruno never gets injured and
Exactly. So it's certain
Fabian
players.
Schär? Yeah.
Isak doesn't look fit.
Warren, that's what Jimmy's saying. Warren
Mhm.
Denning, let's face it, if we've been left behind, we've been left behind. Man City and ours, oh, Man United, maybe. I don't know who's Arsenal, given Chelsea and Liverpool. Then there's Villa. It's between us and Spurs for the fodder.
Yeah,
Says,
Vella's proven that you can still compete
of course you
without
can.
spending as much as
The
them.
people excusing, well, never mind. Ian says, when I'm not on about the money spent, I'm on about you saying that the squad is good enough for top four when it clearly isn't, unfortunately. There you go. And Brian Quinn, last but not least, how about we take captaincy off Bruno, make him player as an 8, play Barnes on the right.
Yeah,
That's
Bruno's
my
captain.
absolute.
What do you think, Jamie? What do you think about the captaincy, mate?
It's not working, the captaincy on Bruno.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
It's sitting
Yeah.
too heavily on him, and he's had some very average performances this season, and he's made us kick towards the laser's end every single home game so far because he's lost the toss.
Well, there you go.
He's not lucky for us. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't take it away from him. Otherwise, he's going to turn around and say, "Why did they take it away from me?" And he's got an excuse to leave, hasn't he?
Yep.
It's a bit annoying.
But by the way, we got 113 people watching at the moment. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Hit the like button right now. If you're new, subscribe. If you're a Newcastle United fan or any fan and you want to just get content, hit the subscribe button. Become a member if you can. We do have shows every day, usually 9:30 p.m. kickoff. So stay tuned for those. Yeah, a lot of you guys are joining us right now. We're about to end the show, but you can rewatch it from the beginning and yeah, come back tomorrow 9:30 p.m. I'll be on. I think I'll just do a solo or something like that, and we'll figure it out. But regardless, thank you so much for your support. Last comment. Let's end it on a positive note right there. That Georgian for Life says he's spot on. James Brown, you do realize it's still one of the best starts of the season that we've had. We win. We're playing poorly. Eddie gets criticized. We play well and lose. Eddie gets criticized. That's football and football fans. Well, you're a football fan, I hope, or unless you're a cricket fan that just walked by.
Well, that is football. That's absolutely football. It's all results based.
And it is football. That is right. Even the happy clapper in chief, the happy clapper of them all, is saying that. So there you go. Thank you so much, Jason Brown. Thank you so much to everybody out there watching. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Roy. Thank you, A. Thank you, Mighty Win. Appreciate it for your support. We will see you on the next one, folks. Good night.
How are the lads?